what's up? This is JM, host of the Celebrity Grill podcast on iTunes, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the really big barbecue central show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important in the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter coming up in about 12 minutes from now. A first-time guest, the guy who is the owner of one of my favorite cigar brands on the face of the earth. That's right, the show, a barbecue and grilling show, but not always about barbecue and grilling. And when it's my new passion project of cigars, we are happy to welcome Al Micallef for not only the first interview segment in the first hour, but also in the second interview segment of the hour. So all cigars, all the time, 14 and 35 past the first hour with Al Micallef from Micallef Cigars, MicallefCigars.com, spelled Micallef. And I do have Micallef Black and Micallef Blue cigars to send out as samples if you are a lover of the leaf. So let me know about that. And that will wrap the first hour. Then we'll move to the second hour where you will find a visit from second hour, first Tuesday of the month, regular guest, a prolific cookbook writer, YouTube maven, and the list goes on. Sam, the cooking guy, rejoins the show. Sam boiling bacon, and I don't mean boiling, I mean deep frying in grease, lard, Crisco. It's all the same thing. We'll ask him about that. There's a event that happened a day or two ago that I have to get his personal thought on. I don't want to blow that here up in the lead, but we'll ask him about that. I know it's being a little coy, but trust me, worth it. And then we'll wrap up Sam, and we will close the show tonight. And coming out of the bullpen, 35 past the second hour, first-timer to the show, pitmaster of Engine 2 Barbecue, Gordon Thompson. You might remember that name. Gordon, also a greater Cleveland area guy, specifically Perry, if you know anything about the greater metropolitan region. I'm sure most of you don't. It's further east than I am. So if Cleveland is center, you go 12 miles east on 90 out of downtown Cleveland, run into Willoughby, and then go an additional 25 minutes or so same direction, further east. You run into Perry. That's where everything starts to flatten out. That's where a lot of the nurseries are, a lot of the farms, all that fun stuff, if you're into that. So Gordon Thompson will be talking about the win at Hartville Hardware's 10th annual Grill Fest from a couple weeks ago. Also talk to him about other stuff that he's into. And that's how the show is going to end. So Al Micallef in the first hour, about 10 minutes from now. And then we have Sam the Cooking Guy, Gordon Thompson in the second hour. Don't forget you can follow me socially, Instagram, the Twitter, TikTok, Snapchats, and the LinkedIn's all at the handle at BBQ Central Show. And, of course, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platform partners. You can go to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show or Twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. And it's this. Did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame right last week? And currently 75% of you are saying yes, indeed, we did get it right. Lots of controversy follows any Barbecue Hall of Fame or any Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame for that matter. Results of the poll question from last week, the Ninja gas and hot air powered grill will actually happen in 2025. 61% of you saying no. You do not believe that that grill is actually going to come to fruition next year. And luckily, we have enough time to start here this evening. And we will start with an email from frequent emailer to the show, Terry in Kentucky. Greg, I couldn't help notice how quickly you shit on the nomination by Matt in Tennessee of Amy Mills into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. I echo Matt's sentiments. In fact, from a female perspective, there aren't many that have accomplished what she has, and in as many different areas as she has during her career. I think you missed the boat on this one big time. Podcast listener only. Love the show. Regards, Terry, thank you for writing in as always. Appreciate your take. And here's where my expertise allows me to correct you, Terry, which is concerning my Guest Hall of Fame. Number one, it's mine, and the embedded correspondents get to vote on this. We come to a unanimous decision. It has to be unanimous in order for somebody to get ushered into the Guest Hall of Fame. We know this. You become eligible by appearing as a guest merely one time. Only showing up on the show one time can get you into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. If Al Micallef never comes on the show again, he has been a guest once, assuming something weird doesn't happen between now and 6 minutes from now. I'm assuming that's not going to happen. But if he never showed up again, he's appeared once, he is eligible to be considered for the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. That's all you need to do. Show up once. Then we'd give our nominations. And here's where it falls short, Terry. You agree with Matt's sentiments about what Amy Mills has accomplished in her barbecue career, but this is not the Barbecue Hall of Fame or any other Barbecue Hall of Fame for that matter. This is the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Amy Mills has been a guest on the show one time, many years ago. Certainly a great appearance. That, on the standalone appearance that she has on this show, we're not talking about how she was acting as the expert during the real Barbecue Hall of Fame announcements earlier in the year. That was not part of this show. That was not a normal show. That was not my invite. She was invited on to the show by the folks over at the American Royal. That doesn't even count. So holding her one appearance, which was a very good appearance many years ago, we then have to agree that that one appearance is Guest Hall of Fame worthy. What Matt told you about were Amy Mills' professional achievements within the industry of barbecue. That is not what we're talking about here. We are talking about the quality of appearance. It can be one time, we've had it happen. It can be over a number of different appearances, over a number of different years. You had a guy like Andy Husbands, nominated once again by our embedded correspondent in Utah, Rusty Monson, not get in again this year because there was not unanimous. And Andy has been on the show 4 or 5 different times at this point. Over 10 years or more, he's still not in. So when you are coming at me for missing out big time on a potential entrant into the Guest Hall of Fame, keep in mind, we're not talking about professional achievements. We're not talking about how much money you made in the industry. We're not talking about how many followers you have. It's only on guest appearance. And Matt gave zero support for the one guest appearance. I bet Matt doesn't even know how many times she appeared until he listens to this show, only being one time. That's it. Doesn't count out of anything other than, did you appear? Were you magnificent? And was it Guest Hall of Fame worthy? Somebody brings you up, we vote on it. That's it. Has nothing to do with your career. Thank you for writing in, Terry. All right, looks like Al Micallef is ready to go. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. Before we do, I'm going to show you a hot little number right here. This is the Schwank Grill. It is ultra portable. It does get to 1,500 degrees with those infrared burners that you're seeing there on the video if you're watching. It gives you that steakhouse quality sear that you might be looking for. Places like Morton's Steakhouse and Del Frisco's and Cut 432 all use Schwank burners in their restaurants. Not like Schwank burners, the real technology. They've just made it more to be at home in this style of cooker. Plus, we're in the middle of football season. You know, there's tailgates here in Cleveland. We are unrivaled, except by the likes of maybe the Buffalo Bills, as far as best tailgates in the NFL. You want to bring something that you can grill burgers and fish and chicken wings and then really class it up with some high-end cuts of steak? The Schwank Grill can do it all. I am being told by Andrew over at Schwank Grills that in a little less than a week, starting on the 7th, so next Monday, there's going to be a special pre-Black Friday sale. You're going to be able to get this thing potentially at an even better price. Stay tuned next week for the big announcement as it comes down from the folks over at Schwank Grills. But right now, if you want to save $150 off that bad boy, you go to the website, schwankgrills.com, SCHWANK, schwankgrills.com, and use promo code BBQ Central, all one word, at checkout. You can save $150 off any Schwank Grill. Do that now, because by this time next week, there's going to be a whole other promotion in place. So get it while the getting's good. If you're ready to buy, you want to save the $150, schwankgrills.com and promo code BBQ Central. We are back with Al Micallef. Right after this, stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com to see their products, and then when you're ready to buy, go to Amazon.com or Walmart.com or Lowe's.com. Same great products, but great shipping rates that they can't give you at cookinpellets.com, as told to me by the owner of cookinpellets.com. As you know, well, the show is a barbecue and grilling show. It's not always about that. Many of you know that over the past 3 years, I have been quite the cigar aficionado. You know, I love the JRE tobacco offerings, but I am also deeply in love with another brand, the Micallef brand of cigars, especially the recent releases of Micallef Black and Micallef Blue, amongst others. And now Red is trickling out as well. But how did Micallef's growth happen in the first place? And how does one actually get into cigar making, there's no better person to ask than the man behind the brand, a captain of industry in his own right and in the cigar business. We're joined by a first-timer to the show, Al Micallef. Al, appreciate you joining me here this evening. How are you?
I'm great, Greg. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Big fan. I haven't been a long-time cigar smoker, but for the 3 years that I have been in it, I have been long, steady, smoking a number of different lines that Micallef offers. We'll talk about the cigar business here in a bit, but I do think it's important to get some background on you before you stepped into the cigar sector of the business. If you don't mind giving us a little backstory on you, where you grow up, what you were into coming up, and other businesses that you have had interests in.
I'd be happy to do that. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, or a suburb of Detroit. I'm now 81 years old and feel 45, but still working hard. I'll give you some of my background. Since being a very small kid, I love the idea of business. And, I had a typical lemonade stand. But when I was 16, I had a twist lounge, which was a dance lounge in an old hardware store near my high school. And my dad, who worked every day of his life at Ford Motor Company, were making about $5,000 a year. And I was making about $30,000 a year. And in 1958, 59, that was big money. Now It doesn't mean much, but back then it was. In fact, it was so successful. My parents are first generation from the island of Malta, and no one makes a lot of money. And if you did, you were doing something wrong. So my dad took me to the local priest, and I had to sit there and explain to the priest, Father Sheltro, what I was doing to make that kind of money. And after an hour's discussion, he recruited me for their summer baseball league and told my dad I was okay and just let me move on.
So what happens at a twist club?
Well,
is it like the dance, the twist club?
Yes. Yeah, it was, back then there was the Peppermint Lounge out in New York and in Paris, and Regine's, that was, all over the world. Yeah, it got to be much less popular. And so one of my bigger business mistakes, that's when the hippie era and the coffee houses came into existence. So I moved into that realm, and I can tell you, you can't make any money selling one cup of coffee and having a guy play the flute for 3 hours. But anyway, I learned a lesson. A big lesson was, don't follow the trend of what's going on unless you know that it's got some commercial value.
At 16 years old, regardless of what year we're talking about, at 16 years old, if you're making 30 grand, I mean, that's some big time money. So I agree. You trace it back to, 1958 or just on the precipice of bumping into the 60s, and it probably seems like $1 billion. How long are you able to keep that up?
We had that for almost 3.5 years.
Holy moly!
Yeah, and it was, it was funny because I always liked carrying a lot of cash, so I had a lot of cash. I had pretty nice cars, and I was audited by the Internal Revenue Service. I think my second year. Accountant that I convinced that he needed to represent me said, "I'm going to do this for free, Al, because I want to see the look on that agent's face when you show up, knowing the kind of money you made legitimately." He said, "This is on me." It worked out just fine. It took a few minutes and it was over with.
What do you do with, what ends up being around 90 grand or so?
What did I do with that money?
Yeah.
Like,
are you an investor, or at that age, are you kind of burning through it as quick as you're getting it?
Well, I was burning through it pretty fast, but, Corvettes cost, I don't know, $4,000 then. You could get through, I did a couple of those, but more importantly, Um, my family was, I guess you would call, lower middle class. So I left some money with them and my sister and just spread it around. My mom got really upset with me for spending a lot of money. And I tried to tell her, look, Mom, what I made this year, I'm going to make in a week when I get older. So it's no use saving it. It's not going to help.
Wow.
And at any rate, it was fun, and I had a lot of confidence back then.
I was going to say, I mean, it sounds like you're a pretty confident guy. You knew you were going to be getting into some kind of business that was going to be fairly lucrative. If what you're looking at now was going to be, what you're making in a year, you're going to be making in a week at some point down the road, or at least having that confidence. I love that, having that business mentality. As you get through, out of high school and you start, do you go to college, or do you not even bother?
I did. I mean, when, they threw me out after a year or so. So I was very skeptical because, I say this with all humbleness. I would take some business classes and some classes that were required. And I really thought, this guy that's teaching me about sales couldn't sell a chainsaw to a lumberjack. It's just didn't. And of course, I think this happens quite a bit. They don't have any practical experience. I've been to Harvard, and I really question some of the teachings that they do, because when you get into a business, as you know, Greg, it's not all textbook stuff. You have to meet the needs of a particular time and people that you're around.
You a live fire cooking fan?
Am I a live fire cooking fan?
Yeah, like barbecue and grilling.
Yes,
You're a big fan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the only thing I do. In fact, I was delighted to see that piece of equipment that you showed in the beginning, because we own restaurants, and 1,500 degrees is a perfect temperature for cooking steaks and getting them the way you want to in a short period of time.
How many restaurants are in the stable at this point?
Well, you know what? It started out, I bought a ranch in West Texas, in the Davis Mountains, and it was a gastronomical wasteland. So seriously, I opened this restaurant in an old, in fact, it was the oldest house in the Alpine, which is a little town in the mountains. Just so I'd have a place to eat and hang out at night, after our cattle business. And it got to be, and I had, fortunately, the first chef I hired was, he's kind of imploded by now because he was a little crazy, but he was an outstanding chef. And we had a great reputation. And the president of Bank One came out to hunt with us. He loved the restaurant. He said to us, "Hey, I've got a restaurant on the 35th floor of this building. We'll cut you a deal like you've never had before if you'll open a restaurant in that bank building." And they really did.
Wow.
They were losing tenants because, all those attorneys didn't want to have to go out to eat. They wanted a restaurant, and it turned out very well for him. And our rent for the first 5 years was $0, and for the next 5 years was 10 cents a square foot.
Wow.
We never got to the second part of that because the building got hit by a tornado and they shut the building down. And it's a long story, but so we've got YAAAAS here, YAAAAS in West Texas, and we've got a deli in a major building, and that's all we have. We really aren't restaurateurs. We have a restaurant that does about $12 million in sales and still grows every year after 30 years.
What's your favorite barbecue meat to eat?
All my friends would say brisket.
Yeah.
And not me. I like sirloin that's, cooked on an open grill.
Yeah.
We've got Cooper's here. Tri-tip. I love tri-tip. I'm in a cattle business. If you ask me where the hell a tri-tip came from, I couldn't tell you that, but I really enjoy it.
What's your favorite barbecue place in the state? Like true Texas barbecue?
Cooper's.
Yeah.
Cooper's in Fort Worth. Yeah.
All right.
You're probably aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of places that are similar to Cooper's. And it's not your typical. Cooper's isn't your typical barbecue place. I mean, it's got very fine cuts of meat, and it's. I had a friend from London, my attorney from London, who, you go in there and you pick out what you want, and he picked out so much food. I thought, there's no way this guy could eat this food. He ate every bit of it.
Wow.
Yeah, he really loved it. Yeah.
How do we find our way, and I say we, I mean Al, how do we find our way into cigars when you had experienced great success in other business sectors?
Well, a lot of our business was automotive connected. We supplied a lot of gaskets and seals, and that's a brutal business. And it's reduce your margin or reduce your price every year for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally unworkable. And it seriously put a lot of suppliers out of business, put them in a Chapter 11, they came back. But so I'm looking for a product that is difficult to be supplied from China or from Taiwan or wherever. I'm looking for a product that's why I like the restaurant business, because, Taiwan's not going to bring a hamburger in, but I'm looking for something that has pretty good gross margin. Theoretically, the cigar industry, build your product in the right country with the right tobacco and the right people, and you have a reasonable gross margin if you hit a certain volume level. Yeah. And so that's how it interested me.
Are you a person that had been a long-time cigar smoker, or had you picked it up a little bit later in life?
No, I smoked cigars for a long time. But I hunted in Africa for over 2 years on and off. And so that's when I would smoke a lot of cigars, and I really enjoyed that. And so when I had a little more free time and could spend more time, at a cigar lounge, that's when I really got into smoking a lot. People ask me how long you've been smoking. And I said, basically, if you count taking the Detroit Free Press, wrapping it up with leaves in it, I started when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
But truly, I probably started smoking in my 30s.
Do you mind giving a little bit of the backstory on how Micallef Cigars actually came to be? Because I've heard it through, I'm a big fan of the Cigar Authority podcast, and I heard you kind of recount the story there, but I'm not going to assume everybody is the same kind of cigar nerd that I am. So if you could regale us with a little bit of that unique story.
Sure, I would love to. I have a long version and a short version, but I'll give you the medium quick version. I was smoking at a cigar lounge here in Fort Worth called Silverleaf, which is pretty much my number one lounge that I go to. I now go to a lot of lounges just to support our customers. Yeah, but I go to Silverleaf. I'm sitting there with friends of mine, and this old SUV type vehicle broke down right in front of the cigar lounge. And these three guys came in, spoke very, very little English. They were all Cubans, and they wanted to roll some cigars to create some money so they could get their car fixed. I mean, that was the story. And so the general manager said, no, finally I said, hey, Jake, just let them roll some cigars, So he said, okay. So they rolled cigars. I smoked the ones they rolled, and I thought, son of a gun. Well, I mean, they were smart enough to have really fine tobacco, and both two of these guys were were really senior blenders. I mean, they were top notch. They they blended and rolled these products. I smoked them. And I went, holy crap, these things are outstanding. And so they were there for 3 days while their car was being fixed. They were rolling cigars. My friend Dan, we probably know Dan Thompson. He's the president of Micallef Cigars.
Yeah.
He put them up at the Fort Worth Club, which was a little unusual. They thought that was pretty nice. We had restaurants, so I fed them in all of our restaurants. I think they could have left it a day and a half, but they decided life was pretty good here.
Yeah.
So they stayed a little bit longer.
These guys
But
are just
when they were
traveling
leaving-
around with tobacco ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
That seems
what
weird.
That's seriously how they fed their family.
Wow. It's like a
And
pop-up.
They have a history, right? Exactly.
Wow.
And they have a history. They were in Mexico. They raised San Andreas. In San Andreas, they raised tobacco that got taken over by the Mexican government.
Oh.
They almost lost their life. Then they ended up being rolling cigars. They roll fake Cubans actually in some of the resort areas. I said that was great because those people that bought the fake Cubans were really lucky because they were getting a better cigar.
Yeah, of course.
But at any rate, so when they were going to leave, I said, "Could you roll me 1,200 cigars?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Let me tell you what I like." And they go, "Nah, there you go." They said to me, "Look at Al. We've been watching you for 3 days. We know what you like. Let us do it."
Wow.
So 6 months later, I get 1,200 cigars. And I start handing these cigars out to my friends, and everybody is taken back by the quality of these cigars. And so that started, they wanted some help in their business. And I know from experience, I don't need partners. You don't need partners because eventually it becomes a problem. So I said, I'll tell you what, guys, if you want me in this business, let me buy your business, whatever you have, your inventory, your equipment, whatever you have. You can work for me, your family. And as long as you continue to build good product and your activities is honest, then you can work for me. And that's how. So I went down to the factory, which was the size of your garage, had bullet holes from the Revolution. But after I went down there, I thought, well, this isn't going to work. So I started looking to build a new plant, and I found that Davidoff had a plant, and Davidoff went to the Dominican Republic. So we bought their plant, and we fixed it up, modified it, and we've got the capacity for about 5 million cigars at that facility. And so we got in that cigar, by the way, was the cigar of the year, the first year we were in business, and it was in the top 25 of Cigar Aficionado. So,
what's the name of that one?
That Reserva cigar, the
Oh,
Reserva.
Reserva. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a ridiculously priced cigar. It's $45. To me, there's honestly, now that I've been in the business for 8 years, there's no cigar worth $45. No cigar worth more than that, believe me. There's some great cigars, and maybe $25 could justify, the tobacco and the aging and the way you handle it. But I mean, that's
So I've smoked few what I would term expensive cigars. I've had the Adames. I've had an Alfonso here and there. These are all $45, $50 cigars. Never more than that. But my issue as what I would call like the everyday ham and egger cigar guy, I'm not independently wealthy where, like Michael Jordan used to smoke the Lusitania cigars like a box a day, and they're, $35, $40 a piece back then, which was still a lot. I mean, now they're through the roof. So I'm looking for QPR, quality price ratio. That's my number one thing when I'm doing cigars. So I'll smoke a Byron Grand Selection, and it's unbelievable. And then I'm done with it, and I'm like, Well, I'm not going to smoke another one tomorrow, and I'm not going to spend $1,100 on a box of 15 or 20. I would love to. It just doesn't make sense in my world. And then we have a cigar that comes along like your Micallef Black that kind of changes the game here. And so it's not only a great smoking cigar, but it's a great price point. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Can I put you on hold just for one moment, and we'll come back and pick up the cigar talk? All right. Stand by. We are talking with Al Micallef from Micallef Cigars, website micallefcigars.com. We're going to talk about that Micallef color line that he has. But first, the question for you. Are you tired of settling for mediocre grilling experiences? Of course you are. It's time to step your game up.
Step your game up.
Bring the ultimate flavor and cooker to the backyard grills, Pits and Spits. Of course, you know they're offering the big charcoal grills that we usually talk about, but as of last week, as we learned from Ryan Zaboral, they do have a gas grill, but also has a flat-top griddle insert that goes on top of it. Right. So now, and it's stainless steel. Of course, we all know Pits and Spits, famous for the stainless steel output. So they have the stainless steel griddle top. You don't want to do flat top? Fine. Take it off, put in the grill grates, and now you have a 4-burner gas grill. Again, price tag might make you faint a little bit, $4,000, but it's the last gas grill and griddle that you're going to ever have to buy. It's also going to get handed down to your kids. Same quality that they're doing with the offset pits, with their pellet-fired cookers. Now is in that gas grill and gas griddle combo that we unveiled last week with Ryan over at Pits and Spits. So you can check them out on their website right now, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. Once again, that's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. That's the double T on the Pits and the Spits. And if you want to buy a charcoal grill because they're magnificent, use promo code Charcoal Central at checkout. Get $150 off any charcoal grill. Or buy the charcoal grill and buy the gas grill with the griddle insert, and then you're pretty much set. Baby, get a Pits and Spits offset. Now you're really set. It's the good folks over at Pits and Spits. We're back with more Al Micallef right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rampey. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
This segment brought to you by Fireboard, makers of Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, the Fireboard Beacon, and of course the new Fireboard Pulse wireless thermometer. When you use the Fireboard app, you have total access to all devices anywhere in the world as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. Get on that wait list for the Fireboard Pulse, or keep checking your emails because rolling invitations as they are. We are back with Al Micallef. Al, appreciate you hanging with me through the break there. So we had alluded to the introduction of a Micallef Black. Of course, Micallef Blue was out there as well. When Micallef, the brand, is ready to sell, as we dial it back a little bit, how many different lines do you come to market with initially? Is it just that Reserva, or do you have a host of other options?
Well, when we came, we probably had 15 Vitolas, which was, there were various blends and various sizes. A lot, some of the sizes obviously are the same blends, but we had, up to about a year ago, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 to 46, including sizes and different blends. Okay. We've cut that back a little bit based on, acceptance in the marketplace.
Micallef has been very vocal how they do business, and it's a method that differs quite a bit from how other companies are operating nowadays, in and outside of the cigar industry. Micallef's selling only to brick-and-mortar cigar shops, not direct-to-consumer, not online through discounters and stuff like this. Why is that important to you to build that way?
it's extremely important to me because of being a small businessman. I'm seeing what the giant mega companies are doing to the mom and pop operations. And I didn't realize it initially because, we dealt with Cigar International originally, but I didn't really understand how they undercut the brick and mortar people. Now, if you want to smoke in your backyard with 5 foot of snow in the middle of the wintertime, then buy your product online. But if you want to spend time and watch a football game and develop relationships with people in a cigar lounge, then we need to keep these cigars guys viable. So we had, and I don't know the exact number, but we had about 140,000 cigars that we were working with CI on, and we bought all their inventory back when we fired them, and we packed that inventory, and we weren't going to put it on the market. We're not going to, dump it and get rid of it. So we gave 140,000, maybe a little more, to the Cigars for Warriors and shipped them overseas.
No way.
So, yeah. And so the boys, I can tell you the number of flags and stuff I get from soldiers that have been overseas that have been smoking our product for several years. I was delighted. I just wanted to get the cigars to the boys. I didn't expect anything from it, but we made a lot of great friends, and I still communicate with a lot of them, and a lot of SEALs, a lot of special op guys, and a lot of guys that just good, solid soldiers.
The company does something counter to what the rest of the industry was doing a few years ago, coming out of the pandemic. There was a number of well-known cigar brands bringing cigars to market at very high price points, as we had alluded to a couple minutes ago. There were so Micallef Black really changes the game for many of us. And when you started sampling it, what were your initial thoughts of that cigar as it's getting ready to come out?
Well, I mean, I absolutely love the cigar, but it wasn't an accident. It took, if I probably not exaggerating, a couple of years to get it where we wanted to get it. But, we're manufacturers. And so the expertise we have is taking raw material and turning it into a product. And we know that you can do that, and it can cost you $1 to do it. It can cost you $2 to do it, just depending on the skill level and quality and how you approach it. And we're ISO 9000. We have all the quality ratings that we need. We've adopted some of those in our restaurants, some of those in our cigar factory. I want to, you've seen cigars with bands that look like the Mona Lisa painted them. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. The boxes look like something that you want to, pack high-end jewelry in.
Yeah.
Well, Dan wants to, we all want to put the value in the cigar. And our boxes look great, and our band's certainly okay. But I don't, you throw the band away, the boxes get stacked in a corner with your, old underwear or whatever. I think I would rather put the quality and buy the best tobacco and then ferment. We ferment our product. I always say 3 times. We ferment that product until we drive all the ammonia out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you'll smoke a Micallef. It'll be strong. It'll be tasty, but it won't. Your mouth doesn't taste like the inside of a tennis shoe. Yep. You don't have a headache. That's because of driving all the volatiles off. So the quality is important, very important to us.
Bring me into the war room as you talk about the quality of the cigar, but how you're going to price it. You're very happy with how it smokes, the taste, all this stuff that you just talked about. But how do you come up with a pricing strategy on this one?
Well, first of all, we know what our cost is. That's extremely important, obviously. We set cigars, we have 10, you probably know this, but we have 10,000 ambassadors, Micallef ambassadors. And so we send them to ambassadors and we ask them, where's the value of this cigar? What do you think this cigar is worth? So I think on the black, for example, we didn't do quite the same with the blue and the red, but the black was between $12 and $19.
Wow.
And Dad and I looked at each other and said, okay, now we know what the perceived value is. We know what it cost us. Let's make sure that the guy out there that's, especially in these economic times, can afford to smoke 2 or 3 cigars a day if he wants to, and not destroy, have his kids eating Cheerios. I mean, we want it priced right. And so that's what we did.
Wow.
And my biggest concern was, in discussing this in our war room, was I hope people don't take this because it's $8 and it's a crappy cigar.
Yeah.
But that didn't last very long, because as soon as somebody tasted it, they go, holy crap. Then they recommended it to their friends. And I mean, the momentum, I just got off the road for 13 days. I did 20 different events.
Wow.
And I want you to know the momentum, I've never seen a momentum quite like this. Just unbelievable.
Dave Garofalo from Two Guys Smoke Shop, Cigar Authority podcast host, dubbed the strategy the Micallef effect, in essence, causing others in the industry to rethink their own pricing strategies. So a couple questions as we're going through that time. Did you catch a lot of heat from other cigar brands about how you were pricing your cigar?
No, sir. What I got is a lot of questions, not heat, and from very big guys said, hey, Al, let's have a talk. We sit down and have a drink. We're talking about pricing, and they asked me about, and I said, look, the only strength we have, I wasn't born in Cuba. I don't have a 200-year history. I said, what I've got is the skill to make product, really good product at a good price. And so I said, so we're using that skill that we've learned in 50 years at manufacturing companies. We're using that as we build cigars. And so we're building great cigars, and the price is right, and we're going to do that. Now, we're not going to be able to keep those prices forever, because I've eaten a lot of price increases from our suppliers. But the point is when we raise it, it's not going to be outrageous. It's still going to be the best bargain out there. And no, actually, the industry is somewhat applauding us, because a lot of people are going, pricing has gotten to be ridiculous.
So the follow-up question was going to be, for the brands that decide to employ a similar mindset, do you think they felt forced to do it, or do you think they saw the success and said, you know what, we do tend to agree, maybe things are getting a little out of hand, and why not provide a quality cigar at a value price?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's both. There are people that are saying, hey, I got to lower my prices because this guy's picking up market share. And the other guy says, you know what? These prices have gotten goofy. And, we benefited from those higher prices, but there's somebody in the marketplace that's saying, hey, hold on a minute. Let's start providing quality for the right price.
I've got so black is like hands down one of my favorite cigars ever. Love both the Toro, love the Robusto, of course. I've got my hands on the blue line recently, and now all of a sudden it's like trying to pick which kid is your favorite. They both have nuance. They're both individually perfect and great, and it's tough for me to figure out which one I want to smoke day to day or week to week, whatever it is. How do you describe a black? How do you describe a blue? And how do you describe the newly released red to people?
If I the black, to me, is, if you like a little stronger cigar, the black's got everything that you want. Okay. And it's not harsh, and it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah. I call it the essence of Nicaragua.
Well, it sounds romantic, but it's really true.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything's, it's like a full package. The blue, if I'm explaining it to you, I'll say, you know what? If you want something um, a little more friendly, um, a little lighter,
Yep.
try the blue. It's still a great cigar. It's still a medium plus cigar.
Yep.
And then the red, which is amazing because of that broadleaf, Connecticut broadleaf we put in a binder.
Mm.
It's a totally different taste. You can tell the difference between the other two cigars, and believe me, I jump back and forth. I mean, I can't tell you. I'll go, oh, I want a black, and then the next day or the second cigar, I'll do blue, or maybe I'll do a red. I mean, what I really like about it for us is that when you smoke one of our other cigars, which our line is really good.
Mm-hmm.
You smoke it and then you'll go, well, I want to try something else. So you'll go buy another cigar, not a Micallef. So you have a variety. Now people just switch among our brand,
Yeah,
and not necessarily go outside the box, which we really like. And the thing that was concerned me was that our other products that we have, I thought, well, we got 1 million cigars in inventory, because when in Texas, because when you call me for an order, I'm shipping it.
yeah.
I'm not telling you it's on back order. So I'm thinking, well, we might have those cigars for a while. But I saw in this trip that people were buying the black, the blue, the red, and then they were jumping in some of the legacy cigars that we have, which made me very happy.
Is there anything new that we should be waiting on before the end of the year, or have we gotten everything out that we're kicking out in 24?
Well, I think 24, you've got what we've got.
All right.
25, different story. Okay. At the show, we'll be introducing something new. I've smoked it. Even before it's been aged properly, it's pretty outstanding. And so I think we've got two more offerings coming next year. And then I think we at least hopefully nail our color series down. And we picked, why we picked colors instead of names? Because I can't remember. You're really good at it, but I can't remember a great cigar I smoked. I can't remember the damn name. So if I don't take it and stick it in my wallet or take a picture of it, so I said, and just being at lounges and watching guys come in and say, I smoked this cigar at a blue and green label, and the tobacconist is going, I don't know what the hell you smoked.
Yeah.
We're making it really easy. If you can remember a color, I said, Dan, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or we need blue, black, yellow. We need something people can remember.
So look for that at the show coming up. Give me a hot take, Al. What do you think about Cuban cigars and the voracious allure amongst especially beginner cigar smokers?
Totally misinformed. Cubans are, not what they used to be. Their tobacco is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
I was in London. Do I have a minute? I'll give you a quick story
please.
in London.
Give me the story. Absolutely.
So Amy and I are in London, and we at a very beautiful boutique hotel, which I knew had a secret cigar lounge, because you're not allowed to smoke theoretically in London indoors. So I convinced the maitre d' with a few cigars to take me to the cigar lounge. So it wasn't 600 square feet. I go in there, all Cubans. So I picked 2 Cohibas. We sat down. I ordered a Coke. She ordered a Prosecco. Both of them didn't draw. Absolutely didn't draw.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and that's not well, I find out since then, not unusual.
Right.
I take him back. I said, now I got to go tell this guy that looks like James Bond. I said, these cigars don't draw. And he said, oh, yeah, not a problem. He said, we have that a lot. That was a shocker to me. So we got 2 more. They were fine. We got our bill when we left. 506 pounds sterling.
Wow.
2 cigars, 2 drinks. And so I looked at the bill and I went, Amy, you won't believe this. Look at this. We just laughed. But Cubans in that part of the world are incredibly overpriced.
Yeah.
People, sophisticated people that are smoking like yourself, believe me, they'll say exactly what I say. But if you want to smoke a cigar that tastes like Cubans did 25 years ago,
yeah,
smoke some Micallefs, because we've got the same people building them that built them 25 years ago. Same technique. We do everything the way they did back then. And I had a guy that was 90 sitting next to me at an event, and I'm smoking a Micallef Experienza, fabulous stick. And I gave him one. This is a true story. He has tears running down. And I said, are you okay? He's like 90. I said, do I need to get someone for the help? No. He said, this reminds me of when I was 18 years old. He said, this cigar, and he just couldn't believe it was reminded of a Cuban when he was 18. So
wow.
That made me feel pretty damn good.
Yeah. This guy's 90. He's probably calling you kid, right?
Yeah, he was. The funny, that was a funny story. I can't remember what it was, but he was very complimentary and just a wonderful guy. Oh, but I remember what I was going to tell you. He's 90 years old. He says he smokes since he was 12 or 13. He smoked 6 to 12 cigars a day.
Wow.
And I said, how's your health? He said, my health's fine. And then I found out 5 months later, I asked about him at the shop that I was in. I said, hey, that Jose guy? He goes, yeah, he's dead. I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Fell down the stairs. He fell down the stairs. He did not die from smoking cigars.
Yes. That's right. Well, Al, I could sit here and talk to you all night. I appreciate the extended time here this evening. Great to learn about your background, especially introducing you to my fan base. And what I've come to find is lovers of smoked meat and grilled meat also have a pretty voracious appetite for premium hand-rolled cigars. So it's been a great meeting here this evening. Again, thanks so much for the time, and I'd love to have you back on in the future.
I love that. You're a great guy. Easy guy to talk with.
Appreciate it, Al. Have a great night, and we will see him next time around because I'm going to have him on. Stellar debut appearance for Al Micallef from Micallef Cigars. The website is micallefcigars.com. MICALLEF cigars.com. Find a retailer near you. And again, I got the hookup if you want some samples. I got black, I got blue. That's all you have to remember. Just colors, like Al said. Nothing fancy, nothing like that. No. All right, before we wrap it up in the first hour, let's talk about Primo Grills. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday ceramic cooker lineup? The ability to do two-zone cooking. You can't do it in most because they're round, and that's why Primo makes their oval design. Patented, it's game-changing. You can now make a fire all the way off to the left-hand side, put in your divider, put the meat on the far right-hand side. You have no heat underneath. You can go indirect. You can go a little convection. If you want to go super indirect, you can put in the heat deflector. It's up to you. There's 60 different ways to cook on this thing. Much like Al Micallef is selling Micallef Cigars through brick and mortar dealers. Same thing with Primo Grills. Only sold through dealers. Go to primogrill.com, find a dealer near you, touch and feel all the ovals, and then buy the one that best suits your needs and budget. But remember this, no one ever got pissed buying up. No one ever buyed No one ever bought a box of cigars and was pissed that they bought a box of cigars. You have more, you got a discount, way better than the single. Same thing with Primo. Buy the XL instead of the large. You're never going to bitch about it, but you will bitch, I wish I got the XL. I guarantee it's going to happen. Buy up. PrimoGrill.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. We thank Al Micallef for joining us here in the first hour. MicallefCigars.com is the website, at Micallef Cigars, their Instagram handle if you would like to follow them there. Got some pretty interesting content up on the Instagrams. Pumping it out. I'm getting email and text messages saying, is this Harry DeHorse? No, I'm not pulling one over on you, gang. I didn't just have Harry DeHorse on and position him as Al Micallef, business tycoon. I see what you're getting at. That's not what happened. Take it from me. I see what you're getting at. By the way, what up with Harry? Hey, Harry. Where's Harry at? Harry DeHorse. We're going to have to chase him down next year as we lead into the Triple Crown of horse racing. All right, so we're a little bit over here. Step away, we'll reload second hour, and Sam the Cooking Guy is coming in, and Gordon Thompson closing out the show. Lots of cigar talk in the first hour if you missed it. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish, what?
He ate 2 feet for wieners.
Now listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central show. We'll have an abridged open here because we're a little over. Not that much, though.
Boing.
I saw this pop up in the chat. Jeff Richards, bestie from high school. What a play. Did you lose a bet to wear that shirt? No. Jeff, I'm not a fair weather Browns fan. I might complain about the Browns. By the way, this is not a sports show. Exactly a month ago, Malcolm Reed was on the show. And I said, Malcolm, how excited are you for the start of NFL season and especially your Minnesota Vikings? And he sat there and under no uncertain terms said, it's going to be rough. Our quarterback's out. We got some piece of crap backup. Guess what? They're undefeated. He's living what the Browns were supposed to be living, and somehow in talking about it out loud, Malcolm did some kind of schmutzing of luck, and the Browns ended up being what the Vikings were supposed to be, and the Vikings are now what the Browns were supposed to be. oh, it's a nightmare. And at 1-3, I have quickly converted to what I used to be Browns fan-wise before last year, in the year before too, maybe just last year, which was, if my wife's going to have it on, so we're not going to record it, we're not going to make plans to watch it, you put it on live, and if I'm not busy doing the laundry or taking a shit, maybe I'll go ahead and watch some of the game, but it's not taking priority. And come on, after 4 games of nonsense, and again, not a sports show, but the last 2 games, you want to put a lot of this on Deshaun Watson. He's a creep. Not arguing that point. I am going to argue the fact that this is not just a Deshaun Watson issue in Cleveland. The guy is running for his ever-loving life the last 2 games. He's being assaulted from left and right end through the middle. Parachuters are coming in. He's being annihilated. He's running for his life. So if you have not even 2 seconds to throw the ball, I mean, what are you expecting from this guy? How about a front line? Give me a break. It's a nightmare that's going on down there. And I won't be a party to it anymore. I'm not planning my Sundays around it. If I see some, I'll see it, but I'm not going to miss it. Just like it had been for the other 30 years before the last couple years were good. Oh, jeez. But no, Jeff, I did not lose a bet. Do you think I would be betting for these guys to win? Give me a break. Still to come on the show this evening, the embedded correspondence. We also... No, not the embedded correspondent. Sam, the cooking guy, and Gordon Thompson from Engine 2 Barbecue. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show to watch, or twitter.com/BBQ Central, or YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we update you on the YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. Did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame right last week? 70% of you are saying yes, we did. 30% of you are saying we didn't. Do that many of you have a grudge against me annihilating Amy Mills right off the bat from getting it into the Guest Hall of Fame this year? For those that voted no, tell me who we got wrong. Everybody deserving, as always. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less is coming Friday. Oh, no. Well, bad news. I didn't write my promo. I didn't. I was about to tell you what happened last week, but I don't want to do that. Poor planning on my part. I thought I was well ahead of the game, but indeed I am not well ahead of the game. Coming in episode 353, taking you back to October 27th of 2015, it's Darian Khosravi, better known as Cosmo's Q, and we'll leave it at that. You love the show. Darian's a great guest, although everybody calls him Cosmo, but I call him Darian because I believe in formality. I'm of that age still where formality is important to me. You can subscribe to the Best of podcast feed by going to thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. Also, if you would like to hear a guest or segment on the show that you think's been lost in the archives, go ahead and shoot an email over to our pal John that puts them together, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com, and he'll do his best to meet your expectation. All right, let me get this up and running, because I know that there is a whatchamacallit going on here this evening. Oh, no. Am I going to be able to... Well, let me try it this way. It's worth the try. Add input. Add web browser. Control V to copy. Let's see if it brings it up. Oh, yes. Great. Oh, no. I don't want to log in. How about this? Can I do that? Oh, great. All right. Here we go. Get that right. Now, I got to watch her go through this first. You think you know what's going on in America. People hate Kamala Harris. People hate Donald Trump. People hate America in general because of our way of living, our way of life, whatever you want to call it. There's plenty of reasons why people outside hate America. But friends, thank God I have found the real reason why people hate America. I'm vamping here because I'm trying to get this lady to finish her dish so you can see it. This is the real reason why people hate America. Her name is Elaine Carroll's Kitchen. You find her on Instagram, and here we go.
This is my favorite meal to make for family and friends. I start by placing my cheese balls into my crock pot and adding a block of
Oh, hold on. Got to reload the page. Okay. Give me the sound.
my crock pot and adding a block of Monterey Jack cheese.
Look at
Now
this.
I'm going to add half a gallon of half and half.
Half a gallon? Look at that block of cheese. Cheese balls is your base?
Follow that up with a stick and a half of unsalted butter. Now I'm going to use some onion powder, garlic powder, turmeric, and crushed red pepper. I also like to top with some sharp cheddar cheese. Cook on high for an hour and a half and then start to stir and break your balls. I also like to break up the cheese block. Cook for 1 more hour on high. Pour your pasta.
How much pasta is that? 2 pounds? 4 pounds? Nobody's eating that amount of pasta.
And now I'm going to put some pasta water into my cheese and blend.
Ugh.
Time to put it all together. I'm going to mix that all well and top with some bacon.
You put in 8 pounds of pasta in that hotel pan, and then you chintz on the bacon. You use scissors to cut up 3 pieces of bacon.
And parsley. Grab yourself a big scoop. Take a bite and enjoy. So easy and so good. You got to try it.
What? Elaine Carroll's Kitchen on the Instagram. That one's tame. There is other nonsense that is going on with her. And unfortunately, all I have to say is she wins. She gets it. I can't even verify that that redheaded broad that you just saw in that video is the one that's doing the voiceovers. I would assume, but I don't know. You don't ever hear her talk. But she wins. Do you want to know why she wins? I'm going to hold the music. I'm going to tell you why she wins. She wins because I watch the video. I watch the next video. I watch the next video. I become angrier and angrier, but guess what? I'm watching all the videos. So don't 10,000 other people who are leaving comments. It's its own ecosystem of nonsense. She is cooking outrageous shit. She's doing it so she gets outrageous comments. And she's winning at everything. She's making it outrageous. Check. She's getting vitriol and hate and disdain in the comments because she wants it. And she doesn't take anything down. She leaves it up. Why do I know this? Because I leave terrible comments and I'm not proud of it. But I do. I comment. I'm a comment warrior, I think Maddie said one time. If you follow me on Instagram, if you watch Elaine's videos, you go into the comments. I think if you follow me, my comments, or whoever you also follow that watches it that comments, our comments are always at the top. I am not proud of my comments. They are juvenile, malicious, violent, not nice. But she gets it. I get it. I mean, look at here. I'm doing 3 minutes on Elaine Carroll's Kitchen Cook or whatever the hell it is. And I know she knows, and I know, everybody knows. But there she is making weird stuff, and I watch it because I hate the way she says stuff, and I hate the way she says, gotta try it. Like, Showbo! I hate every second of it. But I'll watch every second of it. And then they talk about it. You don't like it so much, don't watch it and don't talk about it. I can't not. I would say I'm nervous that Sam the Cooking Guy has forgotten the show tonight because he's not in the black box, but I'm going to withhold my concern. Because if he doesn't show up, I got another 20 minutes on how much I hate Elaine cooks and love her. Franklin Barbecue Pits is a deeply thought out, refined version of the old propane style cooker that Aaron uses for his Franklin Barbecue restaurant. Stylistically, it reflects the kind of bare bones industrial handmade aesthetic that he loves, as in the patina and the way the build allows you to see the welds and the craftsmanship. Now, the schematics of a Texas-style offset barbecue pit, relatively simple, even if the things that happen inside reflect complicated dynamics of physics and chemistry. Yeah, I'm worried. I got to jump in and send an email. Little reminder there. Numerous and massive differences divide this Franklin pit from the average barbecue smoker sold at a big box store. Of course, the weight of the product, that's a big challenge. The stuff you're finding at Lowe's, Home Depot, they look like an offset, but they're not. They're cheap. They crack when it's cold outside. They leak heat. It's nonsense. Don't fall for that. Trust me, a true Texas-style offset pit does not cost $250. You're getting bamboozled. Franklin pits can be found at fine barbecue specialty stores in select regions of the country. If you, the listener, are an owner of such a store and wish to become a certified Franklin dealer, please visit franklinbbqpits.com and fill out a dealer form. Number 1, Franklin Barbecue Pit was at Hartville in the grill zone, by the way. Nobody took me up on the walk-around offer. Your loss. If you, the listener of the show, want to own a Franklin Barbecue Pit, you live in a part of the country that doesn't have a certified Franklin dealer nearby, you can also visit franklinbbqpits.com and purchase a pit directly online. Franklin Pits will ship a Franklin pit right to your driveway. Either or. And next year, if you're in Hartville, you're wondering about that Franklin Barbecue Pit, let me know. I'll walk you around it when I'm down there hosting for the 11th annual. We're going to be talking with Gordon Thompson about the 10th annual victory on the competition side of things that he had a couple weeks ago. Still no Sam the Cooking Guy, but I'm going to cross...
Stern,
okay.
Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central show.
Hey! It's like the first hour was so good, and the beginning of the second hour is like... This portion of the show is being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a professional. It's a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. You visit pitbarrelcooker.com and you tell them the Barbecue Central show sent you, and you never know what kind of cool stuff they might send all on their own. You never know. Could be anything. Well, it's that time of the month where we welcome in our favorite YouTube cooking personality, cookbook author, TV host, also a Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer, I believe. Was it all the way back in 2018 as an inaugural guest? We welcome back our pal Sam, the cooking guy. Sam, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, and it's this. Did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Fame right last week, yes or no? Sam? Sam? Did I pick up the wrong line? Well, let me see. Line 5. Oh, my mistake. All right. Sam, did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Fame right last week? Sam, hello? 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 Well, that is what we call a shame. By the way, that's not really a dial tone. It is a dial tone, but it's not Sam's dial tone. I've tricked you all. I got production. So, you remember when I asked Wes Wright if he had heard the Maddie and Kiki EDM song? I had a lot of people asking me about that. This is it.
Okay.
That's an EDM breaker or a BPM breaker on Sirius XM. By the way, shout out to my guy Jason Kaplan over at the Howard Stern Show, Sirius XM. But my favorite music station on Sirius is BPM, and when they have new songs like this one, they call it a BPM breaker. I think Maddie and Kiki, live fire experts from Canada, they call themselves live fire entertainers. Is that what they call themselves? I don't know. Instant poll. I haven't had them. Would you want to see Maddie and Kiki on the show? Yes or no? Or would you rather see Maddie or Kiki on the show? And I think the real question comes down to, will they do independent interviews? Can I get Maddie on one week and Kiki on a subsequent week? Maybe that's what I should do. I fear I don't want to have them on at the same time. I watched their interviews. Not terrible. But I'm always a little anxious about having multiple guests on at one time. You can have some talking over. Could be some inside stuff that I don't pick up on, especially sisters that are this close. I'm a little nervous about that, so I don't know. By the way, quick update on the poll. Did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Fame right last week? 70% of you are saying yes, we did. So we're stuck at the 70-30 benchmark at this point. And I'm shocked. I sent Sam a text message yesterday. Dear Sam, are we on for tomorrow? Yes. I got on the computer last night when I was sound checking for Al Micallef, also with Gordon Thompson. Here's the link. Same link that he uses every time, but I always resend the link every month. Told him I had some great questions to ask him. For instance, you don't think I spend time on the show? Let me give you a for instance. Do you have any personal thoughts on the retirement announcement of Hoda Kotb? That's brilliant. I could get 10 minutes off of that. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would Sam the cooking guy give a rat's ass about Hoda Kotb's retirement announcement? Well, if you're a fan of this show, which you have to be if you're listening or you're not, and more importantly, if you're a longtime fan of Sam the cooking guy, Sam used to go on the Today Show regularly And there was a time when you had those two chickens doing the cooking segment, Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb, Copy or whatever. This was the second time. He's trying to get some information out there. And he said, "Can I talk? I get a lot of complaints around here about a lot of talking. Let me talk. Be quiet 1 minute." He told them both to shut up right there on national television. Everybody lost their mind. The hosts, of course, didn't like it because they were belittled. They were told to stifle by the guest. But everybody else loved it. Everybody in the crew loved it. They laughed. You could hear them off camera laughing. I'm sure those people got fired immediately after the close of business. He was on the Howard Stern show because Howard at the time thought Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb were insufferable during those kind of segments. So he got to go as a guest on Howard Stern. Brilliant. Nevertheless, I'm sure, so that's why I would ask the Hoda Kotb or Copy or Kotbe and why he would have a personal thought. All right, I feel in my heart of hearts that this is not going to be a thing, right? Hey, look at this. I don't usually break format like this, but GMG Grills Europe. Big fan. By the way, in Europe, it is, 2:30 in the morning. Could be as late as 3:30 in the morning. So thank you, Green Mountain Grills Europe, for tuning in tonight. All right, we're going to exit stage right. We'll bring in our pal, Gordon Thompson. And if Sam the cooking guy shows up, because I'm sure he's going to feel terrible when he gets my text messages, maybe we'll do a mashup, a mix of Gordon and Sam. Be a life event for Gordon, I would imagine. And probably for Sam. Before we get to Gordon, are you ready to score that perfect 180 on chicken? Gordon, pay attention. Big Papa Smokers has you covered with the best rub, sauces, and injections in the business. For limited time, use promo code BBQ Central and get 10% off all Big Papa Smoker products. That's right, 10% off secret ingredients the championship team swear by and win with. Weekend in and weekend out. Don't miss out on this incredible offer, whether you're aiming for a grand champion at your next barbecue contest or you're just looking to take your backyard barbecue and grilled foods to the next level of awesome. Remember, your food just got better with Big Papa. Offer valid now through the end of the month. Visit BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BigPapaSmokers.com and use promo code BBQ Central to get 10% off your entire order of Big Papa Smoker products. Might I recommend the Double Secret Steak Rub? Might I recommend Sweet Money? Might I recommend Sweet Money Hot? Might I recommend Desert Gold? I use them all. They're so good. It's like Big Papa here and then Doug's Rubs. No offense. We'll be back with Gordon Thompson from Engine 2 Barbecue right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rimpey.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Micallef Cigars. Hey, how about that? Their color series is spectacular. Micallef Black crowned the 2023 Cigar of the Year by the Cigar Authority podcast. Micallef Blue, a harmonious blend that dances on the palate with elegance and depth. Micallef Red, a vibrant expression of flavor, capturing the spirit of adventure. And if I read the clues right from Al Micallef in the first hour, it sounded like there would be two more colors. that are released here into 2025, or maybe one non-color and one color. He did allude to the fact that they were going to have their color palette nailed down. By the way, I think I gave him a pretty good tagline for Micallef Black, which was the essence of Nicaragua. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to immediately file for trademark on that. 2 weeks ago, gang, my next guest won the 10th annual Grill Fest barbecue competition in somewhere called Hartville, Ohio. In the beginning of all of this, I thought it was just a nice side tent thing that was going around a much bigger retail event, but it's grown into a non-sanctioned barbecue juggernaut that many across the region and in a tri-state area plan to attend to try and win. Here to talk about all of that is first-time guest and pitmaster of Engine 2 Barbecue. We welcome in our new friend, Gordon Thompson. Gordon, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including the faces of death behind you on the wall, which is, did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame correct last week, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Right. 70% of the YouTube voting public are agreeing with you that we did get the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame correct. First time on the show, Gordon, you're a big cigar guy, so I don't know if you had a chance or not to catch the Al Micallef segment, but if you did, your thoughts on a leader in the industry present day.
Great segment. I learned a lot and very impressed with the company. Definitely a new fan.
I think that guy's like multi tens of millions of dollars in air. He should be our best friend.
You would never know it by listening to him. He seems like a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, totally unassuming. I bet he's got a private jet, but I don't know that for sure. But, if I have a lot of money, I'm always buying a private jet. A little professional background on you, Gordon, before we jump into the live fire talk.
I'm a career fireman. I've been with Painesville Township Fire Department, Northeast Ohio. I've been there over 35 years. I got into fire investigations, and I have a canine partner from the federal government that's one of 60 dogs in the U.S. I've been a canine handler for 18 years.
Really?
Yes.
What does a dog like that cost?
So the government tells us before they send us home from school that the dog's somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000 of training.
Wow. It's like a nice car.
Yeah. Yes. Very nice.
So what is the dog telling you as it walks a charred wasteland?
So they're looking for trace amounts of ignitable liquids that are typically left after a fire.
So it'll like sit down or make a growly noise in a certain area, and then you just take some of the burned stuff and send it off to a lab to figure out what it is?
In general, they'll sit down. We want a passive alert. We don't want a dog that's going to be digging in our evidence. Shepherds tend to like to dig and scratch.
Do you have a Belgian Malinois?
No, all three of my canines have been Labradors.
Really?
Yes. Great disposition. They're
is
just
that dog
really
your
good
pet
dogs,
too?
and oh yeah, he goes wherever I go. If I fly in a plane, I've been to Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, coast to coast. I fly with the dogs, and they ride right next to me.
Wow. Live fire cooking wise, something that you've always had a fascination with, or something you got into later in life as a hobby?
I've always liked grilling. I grew up watching my dad grill, and I remember I got my first apartment and he bought me a grill. So that was kind of where it all started. And then I was looking for ways, as you may not know, but I'm a hunter. And I was looking for, that's what I thought, but I've been looking for ways to, just different ways to cook meat, and smoking seemed to be something I hadn't done yet. And I got into it because of hunting. And then Barbecue Pitmasters came along, and that changed everything for me.
So you're one of those converts off of the television show, saw it, got inspired, said I can do that, and now you're searching for stuff to do.
That's exactly how it happened.
Wow. John Mark is going to be incredibly happy that that's still something that happens to this day. So how long ago was that?
Oh, geez. It was when it was first airing.
Oh, okay. So it was a while back, 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, and Robbie Royal, love him or hate him for the character on TV, totally different. What a nice guy. But I talked to him because I had a stump smoker. I actually bought that out of Willoughby off a online thing. And so I was going to take his online class, and then COVID came along and wiped out his class and wiped out any plans I had to start in barbecue competitions.
How many years have you been competing down at the Hartville Hardware Grill Fest?
So this is my third year competing there. I love that event, and I don't want to miss it next year.
What's the talk around town about this event from the competition side of things? What do you hear in the tent?
We all love it. So I cook with a lot of friends that go to it as well. Aaron from Mr. Brisket and Josh from Buckeye Flavor and some local guys. We all have a team that we cooked in Missouri earlier this year. We went by the name of Meatland and took a second place at the indoor barbecue bash there. So we cooked as a team. Almost all of us cooked in the event this year too at Hartville.
It has remained the same for the past 2 years as it relates to ribs being the main meat to cook, but the secondary meats changed around a little bit. Do you like that kind of a setup?
I loved it this year because it played right into my wheelhouse. I'm an SCA cook, and I've done way more SCA events than I have barbecue. So the SCA portion or steak portion of this year's event really helped me out a lot.
So are you turning in ribs and steak in the same turn-in box, or was it separate?
Yes, everything we turned in other than the black box challenge, the mystery box, everything was in the same box. And it has been for the last 3 years that I've competed in the event.
Are you worried that you could get some cross-contamination of aroma and flavors, ribs going onto the steak going onto the ribs, and then when the judges are tasting it, they're tasting a nice rib with a hint of steak?
I made sure I kept them separated. I kept my steak. They only wanted 1-inch cubes. Some people gave them more. Some, like me, I gave them exactly what they were asking for. I gave them a flavorful, probably the most flavorful bite of steak I've ever given them, or given any judge for that matter of fact.
Are you cooking it the same way that you would cook a SCA event, or do you cook it a little bit different for something like this because it's non-sanctioned?
Well, I cooked it different. We couldn't use our own grills, and I cook on an M Grills M16 for SCA competitions. So I brought my own grill grates with me, and I put them on the flat top. I cooked the steak, I deboned it, and then I trimmed it just like I would an SCA steak. Tied it just so it would stay together, and I threw it in the Traeger. I was competing on a Traeger this year. Brought it up to the temperature that I wanted and moved it over to my grill grates to sear it. And that took me right to the temperature I needed, and I just wrapped it up and let it rest.
The black box that you had mentioned is 25% of the overall score. Is that something you like? You like having that big of a potential hindrance on your score?
I'm pretty sure Satan had something to do with putting that into this competition. I hate the black box.
Oh yeah, well, if by Satan you mean Danielle Bennett, then yes, you're right. Satan did have a hand.
No, don't tell her. Don't tell her I said that.
Yeah, she never listens to the show. Don't worry about it. So this is the second year of incorporating the black box element. The first year it was thought to be a bit easy. I think they were trying to see if this is something that would have legs. This year really amped up. What are the rules of the black box, and what was in it this year for you to use?
So the rules are you get this year it was 6 ingredients. I think last year, if I remember right, it was only 4. But 6 ingredients, you have no idea what they are. They can spring it on you at any time. They give you a time range, but they can spring it on you, and you have to make one cohesive dish and have at least 4 samples for the judges.
And you have to use all the ingredients in the box?
Have to use everything.
Wow.
So they gave us a roll of croissants or crescent rolls, basically, just the dough, plantains, dark chocolate, marshmallow fluff, jalapenos, and then peppermint candies. So that was a bit of a challenge this year.
What do you make out of that?
Last year I put whatever you can. So this year it hit me quick. 30 minutes. Last year I struggled. I was just trying to get it done. I'm not a chef, but I love to cook. And this year it just clicked, and I had it done, and I still had 12 minutes left when I had it boxed and turned in. So this year I took the crescent roll dough, and I cut the plantains up and checked them, because I don't know if you've had plantains often, but when they're nice and soft and mushy, like one of them that I got it was just like a banana. I didn't have to fry it to soften it or change it. It was really good right out of the peel. So I just cut that up. I put that in the dough. And I took all the other ingredients, a little marshmallow fluff, chocolate, jalapeno. I put it all in there, wrapped it up, and I had a feeling that we were going to need to fry something. So I went into the store. I had forgotten a pan. I remembered the oil, but forgot a pan. So I just picked up a cheap cast iron pan, threw it on the flat top, and brought some oil to temperature before we even got the black box. So it was ready to go. I just set it in the oil and started frying them, flipped it over, got everything nice and golden brown. And then I shaved some of the peppermint candies. I had brought a microplane and shaved some of that off in with some sauce that I drizzled over it. And I got lucky on this.
Any idea like where you scored on the black box?
Just a little bit of an idea. I printed off the score sheet. They emailed it to us today. Where did I finish on? Right behind the guys that finished number. Let's see.
The guy that won
they both beat me on
the
it.
guy that won the Weber Grills section also won the black box, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think I was fifth by the looks of it. Quick count.
Good. Yeah, a lot of people were complaining about that one.
I complain about it, but I still loved it. It was a lot of fun.
So what I particularly liked was how much Danielle was complaining about the majority of turn-ins and how bad they were. And I said, well, how dare you complain? This is your idea, Toots. And she said, yes. How much am I regretting this now? But live and learn, I guess. So obviously this is something you would go back and try and defend the title next year?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
We have an absolute blast. Like I said, for us, it's a lot of our small group that's together, and we've gotten to know a lot of the other cooks that are returning cooks. Giving each other a hard time is kind of fun.
You know Jeff Tershon?
Just a little.
Yeah?
So Jeff actually helped me out. Quick story on Jeff. So I said I cooked SCA. I had to take some time off. I had some pretty serious surgery in South Euclid where he works. And when I went back for follow-up, they had to do some debridement on the wounds that I had after the surgery from where they had cauterized some stuff. It's the worst pain I ever felt in my life. And I passed out in the doctor's office. And I had a hard time coming to. So they call the rescue squad, and who shows up? Tershon. So it was good to see a familiar face. It really was. And
after he hit you with the shock paddles on purpose?
Oh, by that time I woke up and he's like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I'm like, "No, just take me to my truck." So they gave me
Yeah.
a ride over to my truck and signed me off. He helped me out a lot though, but it was, like I said, good to see a friendly face.
Yeah. Easily one of the best human beings on the face of the earth. Confirm or deny?
Confirm.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the pleasure of offering his son a job here soon.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't get a chance to tell him. So if he's watching, we had a meeting this evening, our council, and believe we're going to offer his son a job here.
All
very
right.
soon.
Well, we congratulate Shawnee for becoming. So it'd be full-time fireman and EMT, or both, or one?
Paramedic.
Paramedic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both.
Wow.
He'll do both. Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for him. So
Yeah, he's a
following
good
his
kid.
dad's footsteps, big human being. I mean, I remember that kid when he was just a little punk. And his dad would drink copious amounts of Four Loko and pass out in my front lawn. But we're not going to talk about that. And he was just a little kid at that point, and then you see him growing up into a real live human man that could easily displace me, and very easily, by the way. So good. And I saw him kind of messing around in rounds through Hillcrest Hospital last year when we were going through some things there. So it was good to see him kind of making that progress, doing what he had to do to get everything right. And now to get on with a real fire department is going to be great.
Yeah, he's definitely on the right path.
What are you cooking at next, Gordon?
So actually this coming weekend, there's a non-sanctioned cook-off again, loosely based on the old KCBS rules in Leroy, Ohio, of all places.
There's old KCBS rules?
Yeah. Before they changed, they don't even have pork in this one. I shouldn't say. Actually, they switched it to sausage. So I have to cook sausage, which I've never cooked in competition.
Yeah.
The turn-ins are an hour apart. There's some other differences, kind of loosely based. Oh, parsley and green leaf lettuce only for your turn-in boxes, no kale. Just some older rules that I'm not used to.
Well, we wish you good luck.
We'll figure it out.
We know this. Once you appear on the show on a Tuesday, if you compete the following weekend, it is a foregone conclusion that show karma attaches and you win anywhere you go. So if you want to skip that event and go to some huge major barbecue competition somewhere else, you would win that too. But you do what you want to do, and then we'll congratulate you next Tuesday after you win wherever you're going to go. And certainly appreciate you, letting us into your barbecue world. Congratulations on the win over at Hartville. And really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much for coming on, Gordon.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You got it. It's Gordon right there. Engine 2 Barbecue, Grand Champagne over at the Hartville Hardware Grill Fest, 10th annual, of course. And it's a little different competition out there. So they have Weber grills, 7 Webers, 7 Traegers, 7 Big Green Eggs. You have category winners in all 3. You take the winners of all 3, mash them together, then that's when you have an overall winner. So technically, Gordon was twice a winner. Won the Traeger side, got a trophy for that, $250 gift card, and then when pitted against the winner of the Weber and the Big Green Egg side of things, comes out on top, gets another plaque and another $250 gift card. So he makes out. Good for Gordon. Appreciate him coming on and letting us know the ins and outs of what he's been up to. And obviously, at least 4 times, a very successful hunter. 4 times? Yeah, at least 4. At least in the shot. Maybe there's more off to the left. All right, we're going to wrap this show up. We'll get a quick end of the weekly poll result, and then we'll call it an evening. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we thank Gordon Thompson for joining us last segment from Engine 2 Barbecue. Oh, looky here. Aaron Huntelman, who I believe was second place overall, or as we call it in where I come from, first loser. Couldn't see the bearskin rug. Of course you couldn't, Aaron, because it's in his bedroom. Oh, yes. Hey, bearskin rug. Not down here in the playroom. We're going upstairs in the adult playroom. Oh, yeah. Let's get you away from those dead deer heads and up to where party time happens. Come on, bearskin rug. Come on with me. Let's go get some wrestling on with the missus. Yeah. All right, we're done with that. Yeah, so that's going to do it. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Al Micallef, MicallefCigars.com, at Micallef Cigars on the Instas if you want to give him a follow there. Second hour, we had no sighting of Sam the Cooking Guy at all, period. End of story. Full stop. And closing out the show, Gordon Thompson from Engine 2 Barbecue, winner at the Hartville Hardware's 10th annual Grill Fest barbecue competition. We are ending the poll right now. Did we get the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame right last week? 66% of you are saying yes, we did. So be sure to tell me how much I'm wrong next week, Terry.
Cherry.
Big show planned for you next week. It is the second week, so we'll see Meathead. We'll see Robert Moss. We have some other guests as well that I have planned, believe it or not. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe saying, Shalom!
Hi, this is Jeff Stone of Grandpa's Pride Barbecue from the Panhandle of Florida, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.